On this planet, there are mysteries that quietly defy everything we think we know. Forgotten underground structures, artifacts no one can explain, and ancient traces that go beyond imagination. Every time a new secret is uncovered, we have to ask ourselves, is what we know about the past really true? And where is the line between fact and the unexplored? Join me as we step into the world of the extraordinary in today's video, where each story makes us question history and opens the door to the unexpected. So fasten your seatbelt as we dive into today's mystery. But first, you'll have incredible luck if you like and subscribe before this video ends. The mystery of the Phaistos Disc. Thousands of years ago, as the first civilizations began to record their own histories, a mysterious artifact was created. It is a clay disc covered in symbols that, to this day, no one has been able to read. This artifact is called the Phaistos Disc, and it is considered one of the greatest enigmas of the ancient world. The story of the Phaistos Disc begins in 1908, when a team of Italian archaeologists were excavating the palace of the Minoans at Phaistos. Amid the ruins of a once glorious civilization, they uncovered a small clay disc, only about 16 centimeters in diameter. At first, it seemed unremarkable, but upon closer inspection, archaeologists noticed something strange. Both sides of the disc were completely covered in mysterious symbols, arranged in a continuous spiral. In total, there are 241 symbols with 45 different characters, some depicting humans, animals, and even objects that defy identification. These symbols do not resemble any known writing system previously used by the Minoans. What makes the Phaistos disc even more mysterious is its age. Scientists have dated the disc to around the 17th century BCE, right at the height of Minoan civilization. At that point in time, writing itself was still a relatively new invention, and yet the symbols on the disc are far more complex than anything previously known. Even more remarkable, the symbols were not carved by hand but stamped with seals, an early printing technique never before seen in that era. How could an ancient civilization create such a sophisticated artifact? And why has no other disc like it ever been found? Beyond the issue of the writing itself, the Phaistos disc raises a much bigger question about its intended purpose. The symbols are arranged carefully, as if they hold an important message. Some researchers believe it could be a religious text or a prayer from the Minoans. Images like the head of a man wearing a feathered headdress have led many to see sacred symbolism. Yet if it really is a religious document, why is it completely different from all other known Minoan writing systems? Other theories suggest the disc might be a kind of astronomical calendar, with symbols representing constellations or agricultural cycles. However, so far, no solid evidence has supported any of these theories. For more than a century, generations of scholars have tried to crack the code of the Phaistos disc, but all their efforts have led to dead ends. Linguists have compared it to every ancient writing system, from Greek to Hittite and many others, but have found no matches. Cryptographers have analyzed the frequency and repetition of the symbols, yet nothing has come of it. Even modern computer technology has been brought in, but the disc still keeps its secrets. The symbols seem to follow some kind of order, but they do not fit the grammar or structure of any known language. It all feels as if we are facing a puzzle specifically designed never to be solved. Countless theories have been put forward to explain the Phaistos disc, ranging from well-argued hypotheses to the wildly speculative. Some archaeologists think it might have been the creation of a small group within Minoan society, perhaps a secret sect with its own private writing system. Others suggest the disc could have come from a civilization that has never been identified, a culture that once traded with the Minoans and left behind this unique artifact. Then there are bolder theories, claiming the Phaistos disc is simply an ancient work of art, with no message at all, created only to showcase the skill and creativity of its maker. However, there are also those who doubt the authenticity of the artifact itself. Some critics have suggested that the Phaistos disc might have been an elaborate 20th century hoax, but in reality, that's unlikely, since the age of the clay has been scientifically verified. Moreover, creating such a complex system of symbols would require a deep understanding of Minoan culture, something very difficult to achieve if the intent was simply to fool people. If it's a fake, then why has no one found proof of it? And if it's genuine, why is there only one such disc in existence? Today, the Phaistos disc is on display at the Heraklion Archaeological Museum in Crete. continuing to fascinate the curious and draw researchers from all over the world. Every year, new scholars attempt to unlock its secrets, yet no one has come any closer to an answer. Is it a lost language, a secret code, or simply a piece of ancient art? Perhaps it is the mystery itself that makes the Phaistos disc so captivating, a constant reminder that the past is still filled with secrets waiting to be discovered. The mystery of the London Hammer. There are discoveries that force us to question everything we think we know about human history. One of those is the London Hammer, an object that seems ordinary at first glance, but was found encased in ancient limestone. Discovered in 1936, this hammer has sparked controversy that has lasted for decades. How could a tool identical to a 19th century miner's hammer end up inside a rock that may have formed hundreds of millions of years ago? The story begins on a June day when Max Hahn and his wife Emma were walking along Red Creek near the town of London, Texas. They picked up a strange rock with a piece of wood protruding from its surface. They brought it home and forgot about it for years, until their son eventually broke it open and found an iron hammer with a wooden handle inside. The shape of this hammer was no different from the common mining hammers used across America at the end of the 19th century. But what truly stunned everyone was the layer of limestone surrounding it, believed to be hundreds of millions of years old, a detail that simply can't be explained by conventional archaeological knowledge. The mystery deepened when researchers began to examine the hammer. The head of the hammer was found to be more than 96% iron, with a small amount of chlorine and sulfur, which had prevented it from rusting after so many years inside the rock. The wooden handle still retained its natural form, though it had started to become petrified. Those who believe in the out-of-place artifact theory claim this hammer could be evidence of a highly advanced civilization that existed in prehistory, or even a relic left over from the time of the Great Flood. However, scientists see things differently. They believe it's simply a case of natural limestone concretions forming around a modern object over the course of a few decades, or centuries, not millions of years, as many believe. Why did the hammer become trapped inside a rock that looks so ancient? Some experts suggest it may have belonged to a 19th century miner, accidentally left behind near a stream or quarry. Over time, mineral-rich water flowing by caused limestone to build up around the hammer, eventually creating a hard shell that resembles ancient stone. This would also explain why other modern objects have sometimes been found encased in limestone concretions. But for those who love a good mystery, that explanation isn't so easy to accept. They argue that the lack of original site photos and unexplained geological factors still leave the door open to unexpected possibilities. The more people investigate, the deeper the mystery of the London Hammer grows. Some sources claim the hammer was once tested at the Battelle Memorial Institute, where technicians reportedly found an unusual iron alloy not commonly produced in modern conditions. However, no official reports were ever published. On top of that, the current owner of the hammer has refused to allow carbon-14 testing of the wooden handle, further fueling doubts about the accuracy of the hammer's alleged age. Meanwhile, mainstream scientists still insist that this is simply a fascinating coincidence of nature, not proof of prehistoric civilizations or time travel. Yet the lack of transparency and the conflicting claims found in these mysterious stories have turned the London Hammer into a symbol of never-ending debate about our past. The mystery of the walls of Sacsayhuaman. Hundreds of years ago, as the mighty Inca Empire ruled the Andes, a monumental structure was born. These are the colossal stone walls of Sacsayhuaman, perched high on a hill overlooking the city of Cusco, Peru. More than just a relic from the past, this site stands as one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world. Massive stone blocks, each weighing hundreds of tons, were cut and fitted together without any mortar, challenging the imagination of even the most modern minds. Who built this wonder, and how did they do it? The story of Sacsayhuaman begins on a rugged plateau at over 12,000 feet above sea level, just outside the ancient Inca capital of Cusco. The complex was built in the 15th century during the reign of Inca Pachacuti. At first, it was thought to be a fortress, but its form was unlike any fortress ever seen. The immense limestone walls, some rising 60 feet high and stretching over 1,300 feet long, are arranged in dramatic zigzags, forming 3 massive tiers across the hillside. Some of the blocks weigh as much as 200 tons, larger than a modern truck. What astonishes everyone is the perfect fit between the stones. The precision is so great that not even a single sheet of paper can be slipped into the joints. When the Spanish first saw this site in the 16th century, they were so awestruck that some believed only demons could have built such walls. It's not just the size that makes Sacsayhuaman mysterious. The true enigma lies in the craftsmanship. These stones were quarried from miles away, at a time when the Incas had no wheels, no modern machinery, and no beasts of burden for heavy transport. How did they move such enormous stones across treacherous mountain terrain? How did they cut and shape each one with such incredible precision, creating interlocking angles as if assembling a giant three-dimensional puzzle? Some archaeologists believe the Incas used only human labor and simple stone tools. Still, the sheer scale and finesse of the construction remain hard to explain. Certain blocks are polished to a smooth finish, while others show traces of a technique we still don't fully understand. The true purpose of Sacsayhuaman is another question that remains unsolved. Many believe it was once a military fortress designed to protect Cusco from invaders. The zigzag shape allowed Inca warriors to encircle attackers, and the high towers may have been critical lookout points. Yet others suggest that Sacsayhuaman was more than just a stronghold, that it served as the center for religious ceremonies. Its vast open plazas may have hosted great festivals, like the Incas' worship of the sun god. Some researchers have even noticed that the walls may be aligned to special angles related to astronomical events, such as eclipses or the positions of constellations. If this was a message written in stone, what was it trying to say, and who was meant to receive it? The deeper scholars look, the more complex the mystery of Sacsayhuaman becomes. Some archaeologists argue that the site was not entirely the work of the Incas. Pottery shards and artifacts discovered there suggest it may have been used by the Quilchi culture as far back as the 10th century, long before the Incas rose to power. Were the Quilchi the first to build here, or could Sacsayhuaman be the legacy of an even older civilization, now forgotten by time? There are even theories that the stones were not cut, but cast or softened using a lost technique, possibly involving extreme heat or chemicals no longer known to us. At the nearby site of Tambo Mache, some stones appear to have been melted, as if exposed to a powerful source of heat. But if that's true, then where did such technology come from? During the Spanish conquest in 1536, Sacsayhuaman became the scene of fierce fighting between Inca warriors and the forces of Francisco Pizarro. Though the Incas, led by Manco Inca, fought bravely to hold the fortress, they ultimately lost. Afterward, the Spanish dismantled much of Sacsayhuaman, using the stones to build new structures in Cusco. Only the largest blocks, too heavy to move, remain today. By the 19th century, the ruins had been buried and nearly forgotten, until Peruvian archaeologists began excavations in 1934. Even so, only about 40% of the original site survives today. Sacsayhuaman forces us to rethink what we thought we knew about the past. If an ancient civilization could build stone walls with such precision and on such a grand scale, what else might they have been capable of? Some suggest Sacsayhuaman is the trace of a vanished advanced culture, perhaps destroyed by natural disaster or societal collapse. Others believe the Incas, or those before them, held technical knowledge we have yet to rediscover. Or maybe they were helped by forces beyond this earth. The evidence of melted stone continues to intrigue archaeologists. Whatever the truth may be, the stone walls of Sacsayhuaman have stood for centuries, undaunted by earthquakes and the passage of time. Today, Sacsayhuaman is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and draws thousands of visitors every year. And yet, standing before those towering walls, the sense of wonder and mystery remains, just as it did on the very first day. The mystery of the Ulfberht Viking sword. Thousands of years ago, when Viking warriors ruled the northern seas, a mysterious sword appeared. This sword was a masterpiece of metallurgy that far surpassed any weapon of its time. The Ulfberht sword was not just a symbol of Viking strength and craftsmanship, but also a profound question for modern scientists. Its steel is so pure that many believe it doesn't even belong to the era in which it was made. Who forged these swords, and how did they achieve a level of technology centuries ahead of their time? This is the mystery that makes Ulfberht one of the most fascinating stories of the Viking Age. The journey of Ulfberht begins between the 9th and 11th centuries, when Viking warriors spread terror across the seas, from England all the way to Constantinople. Around 170 Ulfberht swords have been found, mostly in Scandinavia and the Baltic region, but also as far away as Volga, Bulgaria. Unlike most medieval swords, which were made from impure iron, Ulfbert was a marvel of metallurgy. Its blade was forged from crucible steel, a highly pure, high-carbon steel that made it sharper and more flexible than any other weapon of the era. The inscription Ulfbert, in contrasting steel, was inlaid into the blade, standing out as a symbol of perfection. What's truly astonishing is that this technology was 800 years ahead of its time and wouldn't be seen again until the Industrial Revolution. It's the quality of the steel that makes Ulfbert especially hard to explain. To create this kind of crucible steel, the forge would have to reach temperatures of 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, a threshold that medieval forges simply couldn't achieve. Some researchers believe the steel may have been imported from Central Asia or India along the Silk Road, where the famed Wootz steel was produced as early as the 3rd century BCE. But how could the Vikings turn that raw material into swords of such quality? And why did this technology disappear after the Viking era? The design of the Ulfbert sword is another marvel. Its blade, about 90 centimeters long, is perfectly balanced near the hilt, allowing Viking warriors to strike and defend nimbly in the chaos of battle. The hilt was often decorated with gleaming brass, like a piece of jewelry, yet the Ulfbert inscription on the blade deepens the mystery. Some believe it was the name of a legendary blacksmith, but since these swords were made for over 200 years, others argue it was the mark of a renowned workshop. Interestingly, archaeologists have found many low-quality imitations bearing the Ulfbert name, proving that forgers once tried to profit off its fame. The real purpose of Ulfbert is still unknown. This was not a weapon for every warrior. The value of an Ulfbert would be equivalent to tens of thousands of dollars today, making it a symbol of power and status. It belonged only to the Viking elite or Frankish lords. In warrior graves in Norway and Finland, where weapons were buried with the dead, Ulfbert swords are often found, proving their importance to the Viking nobility. Yet not every sword was used in battle. Many were thrown into rivers or bogs as ritual offerings. The mystery only deepens when we look at the origins of Ulfbert. The name Ulfbert is Frankish, suggesting these swords were forged in the Rhineland, a center of metallurgy in the Frankish kingdom. Yet most Ulfberts were found in Viking lands, where weapon exports were banned by Carolingian law to prevent them from falling into enemy hands. So were these swords spoils from raids, or were they smuggled along trade routes from the Rhine to Norway? One Ulfbert found in Germany was even engraved with the Latin phrase in nomine Domini, hinting that some may have been produced in Christian monasteries, the very rivals of the pagan Vikings. This raises yet another question. Why would a monastery manufacture weapons for its enemies? The fate of Ulfbert is equally puzzling. By the 11th century, as pagan burial rites disappeared in Scandinavia, the swords themselves vanished from history. The secret of crucible steel seemed lost to Europe, leaving only rusted blades buried deep in the earth. Some suggest that the supply of steel from Central Asia was cut off as the Silk Road declined. Others believe the metallurgical knowledge faded over generations. But if this technology was truly so advanced, why wasn't it passed down? Could an even more advanced civilization have been behind the creation of Ulfbert? The Ulfbert sword makes us look at history with fresh curiosity. If the Vikings, or Frankish blacksmiths, could produce a weapon centuries ahead of their time, what else might they have been capable of? Some see Ulfbert as proof of an ancient global trade network, connecting Europe with the Middle East and Asia. Others believe it was the product of a secretive forge, where smiths held metallurgical secrets that have yet to be rediscovered. Whatever the truth, the Ulfbert swords remain on display in museums in Copenhagen, a reminder that the past still holds many secrets waiting to be revealed. The mystery of the skeletons at Rupkund Lake. Centuries ago, amid the frigid, treacherous peaks of the Himalayas, a mysterious tragedy unfolded more than 16,000 feet above sea level, leaving hundreds of human skeletons scattered around a small, frozen lake. Rupkund Lake, also known as the Lake of Skeletons, has long stood as one of the world's strangest archaeological mysteries. Who did these bones belong to? How did they make it to such a remote and unforgiving place? And what led to their deaths? The story is a blend of history, local legend, and modern scientific discovery. In 1942, an Indian forest ranger named Hari Kishan Madhwal made a chilling discovery while patrolling the Himalayas. At an altitude of 5,020 meters, beneath the summit of Mount Trisul, he came upon hundreds of human skeletons lying along the shores of Rupkund Lake. The lake itself is only about 40 meters wide. In the summer, as the ice melts, some skeletons even float in the water, hair, skin, and clothing preserved by the harsh cold. At the time, the world was deep in World War II, and the British feared these might be the remains of a secret Japanese army unit. But the bones were far too old to belong to the modern era. In truth, they had been there for centuries, perhaps even thousands of years. What makes Rubicon Lake especially mysterious isn't just the number of skeletons, but their diversity. Scientists estimate that between 300 and 800 people died here, including children. Alongside the bones, researchers found artifacts like leather shoes, rings, and iron spearheads. These objects suggested the dead were not soldiers, but likely pilgrims or travelers. The strangest detail, though, was found in their injuries. Many skulls showed signs of massive trauma from above, as if the victims had been struck by objects falling from the sky. According to local legend, a royal pilgrimage led by King Kanauj had once offended the goddess Nanda Devi, who, in her anger, rained down iron balls from the heavens to destroy the entire group. Was this legend rooted in real events, or was it just an ancient attempt to explain a tragedy no one understood? For decades, scientists have tried to unravel this mystery. In the 1950s, the first studies revealed that most of the skulls had cracks and fractures, leading to the theory that the group died in a massive hailstorm in the 9th century. Hailstones as large as cricket balls could have fallen from the cliffs above, killing those who couldn't find shelter. Carbon dating in 2004 confirmed that a large group of skeletons dated back to around 850 AD, seeming to support the disaster theory. But in 2019, a breakthrough study published in Nature Communications turned everything upside down. When scientists analyzed DNA and carbon from 38 skeletons, they found not just one, but 3 separate groups of people had died at Rupkundan. They had not all died at the same time. The first group, 23 individuals of South Asian ancestry, had died at various times between the 7th and 10th centuries. The second group, 14 people, died around the year 1800, and, remarkably, their DNA matched that of people from the Eastern Mediterranean. Another individual, who died at the same time, carried Southeast Asian ancestry. None of these people were related, and chemical analysis of their bones revealed completely different diets. How did a group from the Mediterranean end up in such a remote corner of the Himalayas in the 19th century? What were they doing at such a dangerous altitude? The more researchers investigate, the harder Rubicun's mystery is to solve. The lake lies along the route of the Nanda Devi Rajjat, a major Hindu pilgrimage held every 12 years in honor of the goddess Nanda Devi. The ancient South Asian group may have been pilgrims trapped by deadly weather, but what about the Mediterranean group? There are no records of a European expedition here in 1800, nor any explanation for why people from the Mediterranean would join a Hindu religious event. Some speculate they could have been descendants of the Indo-Greek kingdoms that once lived in Afghanistan and northern India, but even this theory can't explain why they risked climbing to Rupkund. Others think they were lost merchants or explorers, but there's no evidence of trade in the area. The fate of the skeletons remains just as baffling. There are no signs of war or disease, and the bones aren't buried in any kind of cemetery. Some suggest that the bodies could have been swept down by landslides or avalanches, but this doesn't explain why so many people gathered in such a perilous place. Some have even wondered if Rupkund was once the site of sacrificial rituals, though no clear evidence has been found. The lake is frozen for 11 months of the year, which has preserved the remains almost perfectly, but it also makes excavation incredibly difficult. Archaeologist Veena Mushrif Tripathi once shared that she had to turn back before completing her research, unable to withstand the extreme climate and altitude. Perhaps only a full-scale excavation could bring some answers, sir. Perhaps the lake will forever keep its secrets beneath the ice. Rupkund Lake forces us to look at history with a renewed sense of wonder and curiosity. If hundreds of people from distant cultures made their way to this lonely place over centuries, what was it that drew them here? Some believe Rupkund is a sacred lake, a gateway for souls to the next world. Others think it's simply a deadly trap where harsh weather and unforgiving terrain claimed countless lives. Whatever the truth may be, the skeletons of Rupkund remain, and the story they tell is one we still haven't fully understood. The mystery of the Osirian. Thousands of years ago, while the pharaohs were building their grand pyramids above ground, another mysterious structure was quietly taking shape deep beneath the sands of Abydos, Egypt. The Osirian is unlike any other monument from ancient Egypt. Massive blocks of red granite, a surrounding moat, and a stark, somber design give it the feeling of belonging to an age far older than anything written in the history books. Who built the Osirion, and why was it buried so deep beneath the desert sands? That is a riddle that has left generations of scholars puzzled to this day. The story of the Osirion begins in 1902, when archaeologists Flinders, Petrie, and Margaret Murray began excavations behind the temple of Seti I in Abydos, one of ancient Egypt's most important religious centers. As they dug deeper, they unexpectedly uncovered a strange underground structure, far lower than the foundations of the temple above. The Osirion is a sunken monument, with a central hall surrounded by a deep moat. It was constructed from enormous blocks of red granite, each weighing tens of tons and hauled from quarries more than 200 miles away. The main chamber is lined with 2 rows of massive granite columns that once supported a gigantic stone roof, now collapsed. At the center sits a large stone platform, like a small island rising from the water, flanked by 2 sunken basins and mysterious, small chambers on either side. What makes the Osirion even stranger is its architectural style. Though it's usually considered part of the Seti I temple complex, built in the 13th century BCE under Pharaoh Seti I, the Osirion doesn't match the architectural style of that era. The granite blocks are cut with extraordinary precision and fitted together without mortar, more like the megalithic style of a much earlier age. Most remarkably, the Osirion sits at an unusually deep level, lower than the foundations of the Temple of Seti I, as if it was built long before the Nile's silt and desert sands covered the region. Some scholars, such as John Anthony West, have even argued that the Osirion could date back to the pre-dynastic period, perhaps even before the Old Kingdom. But if that's true, who built it? And how did they transport such massive stones across hundreds of miles with no modern technology? The purpose of the Osirion is just as fiercely debated. Many Egyptologists believe it was a symbolic tomb dedicated to Osiris, the god of rebirth and the afterlife, or perhaps for Seti I himself, in his role as Osiris. The encircling moat and the island in the center are thought to mimic the primordial mound in Egyptian mythology, or to symbolize the tombs of the Valley of the Kings. Some think the moat was used in rituals connected to Osiris, since water is a symbol of renewal. Yet, there is not a single inscription or hieroglyph anywhere inside the Osirion to support these theories. The absence of writing is extremely rare for any Egyptian monument. Was the Osirion a place to commune with the gods? Or does it represent a cosmic idea that we still can't fully understand? The deeper researchers dig, the more the mystery grows. Some, like Freddie Silva, suggest the Osirion could even predate the Great Flood, 12,000 years ago, when Abydos was still a fertile land with a vast inland lake. Its construction style has also been compared to megalithic sites in South America, such as Sacsayhuaman, leading some to speculate about the existence of a lost global civilization. Recent studies, including a 2023 paper in the journal Minerals, found an ancient canal connecting the Osirion to the Nile, suggesting the monument may have been designed to tap into underground water sources. Yet the chemistry of the water here is different from the Nile's, fueling doubts about its true origin. Perhaps the water comes from a deep aquifer or some hidden geological layer. How could ancient builders have known about this water source? And why would they construct such a secretive monument deep underground? The fate of the Osirion only deepens the enigma. After it was completed, the site seems to have been abandoned and buried under thick layers of sand, not rediscovered until the 20th century. Some believe floods and silt from the Nile filled it in, and that Seti built his temple above it without even knowing of the Osirion's existence. But if it predates Seti I, why is there no mention of it in any ancient texts? Another theory suggests the Osirion was deliberately hidden, perhaps because it was sacred, or maybe because it held something dangerous. Today, the Osirion remains closed to visitors and can only be viewed from above. The constant inflow of groundwater makes deeper exploration nearly impossible. Many say that no matter how much water is pumped out, it can never be completely drained, leaving the full depths of the Osirion unexplored. The Osirion forces us to rethink the history of ancient Egypt. If this monument truly dates from the pre-dynastic era, it would overturn everything we know about the development of civilization. Some believe the Osirion is a surviving relic of a long-lost advanced culture, maybe even linked to the Egyptian legend of Atlantis. Others argue it's simply a unique creation by Seti I, built to honor Osiris in a radically different way. Whatever the truth, the massive granite stones of the Osirion still stand, a challenge to every new generation. Today, the Osirian remains an enduring mystery, drawing researchers and history lovers alike, but limited access only increases the sense of curiosity. Each block of stone, every drop of water in its deep moat, seems to tell a story that no one can quite decipher. Will we ever truly understand the purpose of the Osirian, or will this place remain a secret, forever buried beneath the sands of Egypt? The mystery of Ram Setu. Thousands of years ago, stories were told of a mythical bridge connecting India to Sri Lanka, a bridge that allowed a divine hero to cross the sea and rescue his kidnapped wife. Ram Setu, also known as Adam's Bridge, is a chain of limestone shoals stretching 48 kilometers between the two countries. Seen from above, this stone formation looks like a road running through the ocean, with ancient rocks seemingly arranged with intention. The mystery of Ram Setu has drawn the curiosity of scientists and millions of people alike. Is it the work of human hands, or the mark of a supernatural force? Who built Ram Setu, and why does it remain such an unanswered question? The story of Ram Setu comes from the ancient epic Ramayana, which dates back as early as the 8th century BCE and as late as the 3rd century CE. Legend has it that Rama, aided by an army of monkeys led by Nala, built a bridge from India's Pamban Island to Mannar Island in Sri Lanka to rescue his wife from the demon king Ravana. In the Ramayana, the bridge was made from floating stones inscribed with Rama's name, mysterious stones that could stay afloat on water. When modern archaeologists discovered a real stretch of limestone exactly where the legend described, curiosity only grew. In NASA satellite images, Ram Setu looks like a submerged causeway, with rocky outcrops rising just a few meters above the sea. But is Ram Setu truly the legendary bridge from the ancient epic? What makes Ram Setu so mysterious is its origin. This nearly 50-kilometer-long formation sits in the Palk Strait, between the Gulf of Mannar and the Palk Strait, where water depths range from just 1 to 10 meters. Geological studies suggest that Ram Setu may be the remnant of a natural land formation from the last ice age, when sea levels were much lower. Around 7,000 years ago, rising seas submerged most of the land, leaving behind the limestone islands we see today. Yet recent findings have complicated the story. According to research cited in the Indian Express, the stones in Ram Setu are 7,000 years old, while the sand beneath them is only about 4,000 years old. This raises the question, how did older stones end up resting on younger sand? Could this be evidence of human construction, or just a rare natural phenomenon? The true purpose of Ram Setu is also widely debated. In the Ramayana, the bridge was Rama's means of crossing the sea, but it also stands as a symbol of unity and determination. Records at the Ramanatha Swami temple in Rameswaram claim that Ram Setu was walkable until 1480, when a great storm deepened the strait and destroyed much of the structure. Some believe Ram Setu was once an ancient migration route that let people cross the sea thousands of years ago. But if it's just a geological formation, why do the stones appear to be so purposefully placed? Marine archaeologist Alok Tripathi has said that if evidence of wood or pottery were ever found among the rocks, it would prove human involvement. Some argue the stones here are not natural coral, but may have been brought from elsewhere. Yet many scientists point out that no study has ever proven this, and the rocks could easily have been moved by major storms or tsunamis, which are common in this area. Some stones at Ram Setu have even been identified as pumice, a light volcanic rock that floats on water, remarkably similar to the floating stones described in the Ramayana. But if that's true, why has no tool or trace of human activity ever been found here? The fate of Ram Setu has only deepened its mystery. In 2005, the bridge became the center of a major controversy when the Setu Samudram Canal project was proposed, aiming to create a shorter shipping route through the area. Hindu religious groups and environmentalists strongly oppose the destruction of Ram Setu, calling it an insult to faith and a threat to the marine ecosystem. The dispute reached India's Supreme Court, where the archaeological agency stated there was no historical evidence that Ram Setu was man-made. Still, due to public pressure, the project was halted, and Ram Setu has continued to be protected as a cultural heritage site. Is its existence proof of the Ramayana story, or just a strange coincidence of nature? Ram Setu forces us to look at history with curiosity and humility. If this really is a bridge built by humans 7,000 years ago, it could completely rewrite what we know about ancient civilizations. Some believe Ram Setu may even be as old as 20,000 years, a relic of some forgotten culture. Others insist it's a geological wonder turned into legend over thousands of years of storytelling. Whatever the answer, Ram Setu still lies quietly among the ocean waves, a reminder that the past still holds mysteries far beyond our imagination. The mystery of the Karnak stones. While early humans were still learning how to farm and hunt, a colossal stone forest appeared on the remote coastline of France, one whose true purpose remains a mystery to this day. These are the Karnak stones. More than 3,000 granite blocks are arranged in endless lines across the fields of Brittany. From a distance, they look like a silent army turned to stone, standing watch as the centuries slip by. The story of Karnak begins in the Neolithic era, more than 6,000 years ago. People of that time cut, moved, and raised these massive stones, some weighing as much as 300 tons and standing over 20 meters tall using only the simplest tools. Even today, scientists are at a loss to explain how a society with no metal and no wheels could have transported and erected such enormous stones. It's not just the size, but the order and precision of the Karnak stones that stands out. The three main alignments, Menek, Kermario, and Kurlskan, stretch nearly 4 kilometers, forming straight rows that grow smaller toward the east, as if leading to some secret yet to be discovered. Scattered among them are ancient stone tombs, burial mounds, and solitary standing menhirs. The Menek alignment is the most impressive, with 1,100 stones arranged in 11 rows, each row seemingly placed with careful calculation. Yet, there are no ancient records explaining the true purpose behind these lines of stones. By the time archaeologist James Milne studied the area in the 19th century, many stones had already been removed, used to build roads, or even to construct a lighthouse. Every time a stone disappeared, another piece of the mystery was lost. What makes Karnak even more baffling is the sheer scale and organizational complexity it must have required. To build and maintain a site like this, the ancient builders must have had a complex society, perhaps even led by powerful kings. Inside the large burial mounds, archaeologists have found jade axes from the Alps and precious jewelry from Spain, evidence of an ancient trading network stretching across the seas. But why did they raise these rows of stones in the first place? Many theories have been proposed. Some believe Karnak was an astronomical observatory, with stones aligned to the sunrise and sunset at the solstices. Others think it was a pilgrimage route, a place for communities to gather, perform rituals, or honor their ancestors. Some believe the rows mark burial sites of tribal leaders or serve as the boundaries of prehistoric territories. There are even bold theories suggesting the stones were once used to detect earthquakes. And local legend tells of a Roman army turned to stone by the wizard Merlin. Whatever the true explanation, Karnak keeps its secrets. Recent archaeological finds show that the ancient burial mounds here contain artifacts from far away, proving that Karnak's community was connected to the wider world. But natural erosion, along with centuries of reusing the stones, has erased many important clues. Some stones were once carved with images of bull's horns or human figures, but now only faint traces remain. The fate of Karnak has grown ever more fragile as, generation after generation, the stones have been moved or destroyed. In 2023, nearly 40 menhirs at Montauban were demolished to make way for a supermarket, sparking outrage among archaeologists. Yet the main alignments still stand, and Karnak is now being considered for UNESCO World Heritage status. The Karnak stones force us to look back at our past with awe and curiosity. If our ancestors could build something this monumental with nothing but their hands and willpower, what else might they have accomplished that we have yet to imagine? Some believe Karnak is the legacy of a lost advanced civilization with deep knowledge of astronomy and social organization. Others see it as a symbol of ancient faith, connecting humanity to the universe. But however we explain it, the Karnak stones endure, standing tall through millennia, a reminder that the past still holds mysteries we may never fully uncover. The mystery of the Alubaid figurines. Thousands of years ago, as the first civilizations began to take shape in Mesopotamia, a mysterious people created clay figurines unlike anything ever found elsewhere. These figurines, discovered at the Alubaid archaeological site in southern Iraq, have elongated, reptilian heads, large round eyes, and features that make it hard to tell if they are meant to represent humans or creatures from another world. Their discovery raised a profound question. Who made these figurines, and why do they look so strange? This area belonged to the Ubaid culture, one of the earliest societies to farm, build villages, and develop writing. Here, archaeologists have uncovered dozens of small clay statues, about 10 to 30 centimeters tall. Some were buried in graves, others placed under floors, but all share the same features: snake or lizard-like faces, coffee bean, shaped eyes, flat noses, small mouths, and unusual postures. When these figurines were first exhibited at the British Museum, both scholars and the public were stunned. Were they depictions of humans or images of a species never seen before? What sets the Al-Ubaid figurines apart is their reptilian appearance, so different from the traditional human figures of Mesopotamia, like those from Sumer. Some display female features, perhaps symbolizing fertility or mother goddesses. Yet their reptilian faces don't fit any known artistic style of their era. The Ubaid people were famous for their agricultural villages and wide trading networks around the Gulf, but there are no stories or legends explaining the origin of such odd figurines. Many researchers believe the Al-Ubaid figurines represent deities or ancestral spirits used in religious ceremonies. Finding them in graves or under house floors suggests they may have served as protective talismans or as spiritual tokens for families or the deceased. Some male figures hold scepters, possibly symbolizing power or spiritual leadership, while female figures with infants highlight themes of fertility and nurturing. But the biggest question remains: why the reptilian forms? One theory is that the Ubaid people worshipped gods linked to water and earth, as their society depended on the rivers and marshes of Mesopotamia. Yet there is no solid evidence for this. Uniquely, no neighboring cultures produced similar snake-faced statues, making the mystery even deeper. Some figurines still show traces of red or black paint, suggesting they were once brightly decorated, but was this merely artistic, or did it have deeper religious significance? Some theories go even further. A few researchers claim the Al-Ubaid figurines could be evidence of contact between humans and an extraterrestrial civilization, or at least an intelligent reptilian species that once coexisted with humans. These ideas are often linked to Sumerian legends of serpent gods or the tales of the Anunnaki, being said to have come from the sky. However, most mainstream scholars dismiss these claims, arguing that the figurines are simply products of religious belief or the distinctive artistic style of the Ubaid people. Over time, the mystery of the Al-Ubaid figurines has only grown. After the Ubaid era, this culture gave way to Sumer, Akkad, and Babylon, and the reptilian figurines vanished. Was this faith forgotten or deliberately erased? Many figurines were found broken, some because of the fragility of clay, others lost to war and looting. Today, only a handful remain, displayed at the National Museum of Iraq and the British Museum, while many others have disappeared. Recent archaeological digs in Iraq have uncovered more Ubaid artifacts, but no additional reptilian figurines. Perhaps the last secrets still lie hidden deep beneath the soils of Mesopotamia, waiting for the day they will finally be unearthed. The mystery of the Sajama lines. Thousands of years ago, across the windswept Altiplano Plateau of Bolivia, something extraordinary appeared, something science still can't explain. Here, beneath the highest volcano in Bolivia, Sajama, thousands of perfectly straight lines were etched into the ground. These are known as the Sajama lines. They are one of the world's greatest archaeological mysteries, and the largest land art ever created by humankind. The story of the Sajama lines begins in this land, near the towering Sajama volcano, which rises more than 6,500 meters above sea level. In 1932, explorer Aimé Félix Chifley was the first to record the existence of these mysterious straight lines. However, it wasn't until the 1930s, when anthropologist Alfred Metro began studying the Aymara and Chipaya people living in the area, that the Sajama lines truly captured the attention of the archaeological world. The local people are believed to have painstakingly carved these lines over more than 3,000 years, from around 1000 BCE all the way to the 15th century. Today, this network stretches over an area of more than 22,000 square kilometers, many times larger than the famous Nazca lines of Peru. The total length of the lines is estimated at 16,000 kilometers. The method used to create the Sajama lines is both simple and astonishing. Ancient people used their hands or primitive tools to scrape away the dark, rocky surface layer, revealing the lighter soil underneath. Each line is between 1 and 3 meters wide, stretching for dozens of kilometers, yet always remains perfectly straight, regardless of uneven terrain, rivers, or hills that cross their path. No one knows how they managed to keep such absolute precision long before the advent of modern technology. Unlike the famous Nazca lines, which form animals and symbols, the Sajama lines create no specific shapes. Every line is straight, intersecting like a giant web and forming an enormous pattern that can only truly be appreciated from above. Interspersed among this network are ancient shrines, burial towers, and small villages, adding to the region's unique and mysterious cultural landscape. What could have driven people to spend generations carving these paths into such a harsh, unforgiving land? To this day, the true purpose of the Sajama lines remains a mystery. Many researchers believe they were pilgrimage routes, helping the Aymara people travel between shrines or reach precious water sources scattered across the dry landscape. Other scholars have suggested they may have marked territorial boundaries or served as ancient navigation aids, but the sheer scale and perfect straightness of the lines have left every theory wanting. The mystery only deepens when archaeologists realize the lines have maintained their straightness for centuries, surviving the ravages of time and nature. Their construction required enormous labor, persistence, and community organization across many generations. There are no ancient records explaining how the local people measured and built the lines. Some theories even propose that the Sajama lines are connected to the Nazca lines, forming a vast ancient cultural network across South America. Yet there's no archaeological evidence to support this, and unlike the Nazca lines, the Sajama lines do not depict animals or recognizable symbols. After thousands of years, the lines are slowly being eroded by rain, wind, and uncontrolled tourism. Some sections have been destroyed to make way for roads or buildings. Yet, thanks to modern conservation projects and digital mapping technology, many segments of the Sajama lines have been documented, even as their true purpose has faded from local memory. The Sajama lines force us to look back at the past with both awe and humility. If ordinary people thousands of years ago could create a massive artwork spanning thousands of kilometers, what else might they have accomplished that we still don't understand? The mystery of the Al-Saflieni Hypogeum, the oldest underground temple in the world. Over 5,000 years ago, when humanity was still living in the Stone Age, a mysterious civilization on the island of Malta created a masterpiece deep underground. This is the Al-Saflieni Hypogeum, a vast subterranean labyrinth carved entirely from limestone. Today, the Hypogeum is not only the oldest surviving underground structure in existence, but also one of the greatest mysteries in world archaeology. The story of the Hypogeum begins in 1902, when a group of construction workers in the town of Paola, Malta, accidentally drilled through the roof of an underground chamber while laying the foundation for a new house. At first, they tried to keep their discovery a secret, but word quickly spread and archaeologists rushed to the site. What they found astonished the scientific community. Below the earth lay a 3-level system, stretching across 500 square meters, carved completely from Malta's soft limestone. According to UNESCO, this structure dates back to around 3,300 to 3000 BCE, which means it predates even the Egyptian pyramids. What makes the Hypogeum remarkable is not just its scale, but its construction techniques and strange acoustic design. The Hypogeum's 3 underground levels each served a unique purpose. The top level is made up of small burial niches. The middle level contains ceremonial rooms with names like the Oracle Room or Holy of Holies, decorated with red ochre spiral motifs. And the lowest level holds collective burial vaults. Here, archaeologists found the bones of more than 7,000 people, along with artifacts such as pottery, necklaces, and especially the tiny figurine known as the Sleeping Lady, one of Malta's most mysterious icons. But what truly makes the Hypogeum a real enigma is the acoustic experience of the Oracle Room. When someone speaks in a low tone, the sound resonates through the maze, creating an eerie effect that has led many to believe the chamber was specifically designed for religious rituals, or even to communicate with the divine. Modern researchers have discovered that the resonance in this room peaks at 110 Hz, very close to the frequencies found in ancient stone monuments like Newgrange in Ireland. This suggests that the ancients may have understood and harnessed sound to make their ceremonies more sacred and powerful. Still, the true purpose of the Hypogeum remains an open question. Many archaeologists believe it was first a sanctuary, then became a burial site for thousands in elaborate rituals. They found skeletons covered in red ochre, symbolic objects of life and death, and representations of mother goddesses. Yet stranger theories exist too. Some propose that the hypogeum was used for healing, or even had links to extraterrestrial civilizations, since a number of unusually elongated skulls were once found here. Unfortunately, many of these skulls disappeared from museums after 1985, sparking rumors of cover-ups or mysterious losses. After more than a century of research, the mystery of the hypogeum remains unsolved. Following its excavation, the site suffered damage from too many visitors, which faded many ancient paintings. Today, the hypogeum is a strictly protected World Heritage Site, with climate controls and a daily visitor cap of just 80 people. Still, most of the labyrinth is inaccessible, and scientists believe there may be even greater secrets hidden in the unexcavated areas. The hypogeum forces us to look back at the past with awe and wonder. If the ancestors of Malta could create such a sophisticated labyrinth with unique acoustic design over 5,000 years ago, what else about them have we yet to understand? Today, the hypogeum is a dream destination for lovers of archaeology and ancient history, but only the most patient can enter, since tickets must be reserved months in advance. Those lucky enough to visit often describe a chill as voices echo through the darkness, as if the spirits of the ancients still linger here. Every corridor, every painting, seems to tell a story we've not yet learned to read. Will we one day unravel all the secrets of the Al-Saflieni hypogeum? Or will it forever remain an enigma that lies far beyond the imagination of humankind? The mystery of Brazil's Earth geoglyphs. Long before the Amazon rainforest was known to modern explorers, ancient communities quietly created enormous markings on the Earth, hidden beneath the jungle canopy for millennia. These are the Brazil Earth geoglyphs, also known as the Acre geoglyphs, a network of gigantic squares, circles, and rectangles that stretch across thousands of square kilometers in the state of Acre. These earth tattoos only revealed themselves when the forest was cleared in the 20th century, immediately challenging everything we thought we knew about ancient civilizations in the Amazon. Who created these geoglyphs? And why did they go to such lengths to build structures that can only truly be seen from the sky? The story begins in 1977, when archaeologist Ondamar Dias, working in the Amazon basin, discovered 8 strange earthworks in Acre. These shapes, deep ditches, high earthen banks, squares and circles, were perfectly symmetrical and only became fully apparent when geographer Alceu Ronzi flew over the area in the 1980s. Deforestation soon revealed hundreds more. To date, over 410 geoglyphs have been recorded at around 300 archaeological sites, stretching between the Acre and Iquiri rivers. Some, like the Severino Calazans geoglyph, feature square ditches 230 meters wide, 12 meters deep, and earth walls over 5 meters high, dimensions that astonish anyone who sees them. But what truly baffles archaeologists is the age of these earthworks. Some charcoal samples date them to between 1244 and 1378 AD, while others could be much older, reaching back as far as 1000 BCE. How could an ancient civilization have created such massive constructions in the heart of the jungle? The mystery of Brazil's earth geoglyphs lies not only in their scale, but also in their sophisticated design. Unlike the animal-shaped Nazca lines of Peru, the Acre geoglyphs are mainly geometric forms, dug into the red earth and surrounded by high banks. At sites like Tres Vertentes, some geoglyphs were even surrounded by selectively planted forests of useful trees such as palms, showing that their creators deeply shaped the natural landscape. Archaeologists estimate that building these ditches required the coordination of thousands of people over many generations, working only with simple tools and controlled burning techniques. But why spend years, even lifetimes, creating massive shapes visible only from above? And how did they achieve such geometric precision without modern measuring tools? The true purpose of the geoglyphs remains a mystery. Many researchers believe these were communal spaces, gathering places for ceremonies or tribal meetings, much like the religious centers of the Nazca culture. Artifacts like pottery and small stone axes found at sites like Jacosá support this theory. Others suggest the geoglyphs may have marked territorial boundaries, or even served as astronomical markers, since some lines align with sunrise or sunset. Yet no symbols or inscriptions have been discovered to shed light on their real meaning. The more researchers investigate, the deeper the mystery grows. Studies have shown that ancient Acrians created open forest patches by controlled burning 4,000 years ago, attracting useful plant species before building the earthworks. This points to a complex society, capable of organizing labor and managing landscapes with skill. Yet curiously, these areas lack terra preta, the famous man-made soil found elsewhere in the Amazon. Some even speculate these are the remnants of an advanced civilization from tens of thousands of years ago, but there's still no scientific evidence for this. The fate of Brazil's geoglyphs adds to the intrigue. For thousands of years, they lay hidden beneath the forest, only uncovered as the land was cleared for farming and ranching. A few have been recognized as national heritage sites, and the region is on UNESCO's tentative World Heritage List, but deforestation and development continue to threaten their survival every day. Modern research projects have used LiDAR technology to map the area, but resources for preservation remain limited. Some have called these the 450 Stonehenges of the Amazon, yet scientists agree there is still much more to learn and verify. Perhaps we are losing an irreplaceable piece of heritage before we even understand its true value. Brazil's Earth geoglyphs force us to look at the past with wonder and curiosity. If ancient Amazonians could create constructions of this scale and precision, what other achievements might they have accomplished that we still know nothing about? Today, the Acre geoglyphs are a fascinating destination for archaeologists and adventurous travelers alike, though access remains difficult due to the terrain and preservation challenges. Each square, each earth road, seems to tell a story no one has fully decoded. Will we ever unlock the true meaning of Brazil's geoglyphs, or will they remain silent, earth tattoos, guarding the secrets of the Amazon? These are wonders of the ancient world, but certainly not the only mysteries. Sometimes, the truth is not found in the earthworks themselves, but hidden in ancient texts or buried deep underground, waiting to be discovered. The mystery of the Rock Lake Pyramids. Thousands of years ago, when dense forests and grasslands still covered what is now Wisconsin, a mysterious civilization is said to have built stone pyramids deep beneath the waters of Rock Lake. Near the town of Lake Mills, the Rock Lake Pyramids have become one of the most controversial archaeological mysteries in America. The story begins in 1900, when brothers Claude and Lee Wilson, out duck hunting, discovered strange stone formations at the bottom of Rock Lake. They described these structures as resembling pyramids or mounds rising from the lake's floor, nearly 18 meters deep. But it wasn't until 1936, when diver Victor Taylor went public with his claim of having seen 3 or 4 underwater pyramids, that the mystery really caught attention. Taylor even hired 3 young men to dive with him, and one reported seeing hieroglyphic-like symbols on the stones, though the other 2 could not confirm it. According to reports, these blocks were about 6 meters tall, 6 meters wide, and stacked with mortar like artificial structures. Curiously, Rock Lake is just 5 kilometers from the Aztlan site. Could these pyramids be connected to Aztlan, or are they the legacy of an entirely different civilization? The mystery of the Rock Lake Pyramids comes from the conflict between the claims of discoverers and scientific evidence. Supporters like Frank Joseph Collins, author of The Lost Pyramids of Rock Lake, believe these are pyramids built by the Aztecs or some ancient civilization when lake levels were lower. Some modern sonar reports have described pyramid-shaped, conical, and even human-shaped structures up to 60 meters long at the bottom of the lake. However, former Wisconsin state archaeologist Bob Birmingham calls such claims nonsense. According to him, these are just natural rock piles left by glaciers 10,000 years ago. Rock Lake was formed by glaciers, and its bottom is filled with rounded boulders, not human-made structures. But if these are only natural stones, why do divers and sonar devices repeatedly detect symmetrical shapes? The purpose of these pyramids is also an unresolved question. Victor Taylor once believed they were altars to the rain god, built by the Aztecs during a drought when water levels were low. Another theory suggests they are the remains of an ancient city, similar to Cahokia, major Mississippian cultural center in Illinois. Nearby Aztlan, with its pyramid-shaped earthen mounds dating from the 11th to 13th centuries, is thought to have been Cahokia's northern outpost. Could the structures beneath Rock Lake be an extension of Aztlan, drowned by rising water? Or are they relics of a civilization never recorded in history, as some native legends tell of an underwater city? Yet, to this day, no artifacts or cultural evidence have been found to support any of these theories. Sonar surveys by diver Rick Kruger indicate that the lake bottom shows very little sign of human activity, unlike other Madison area lakes. Still, pyramid theorists continue to report large, distinct structures using modern sonar. One major challenge is that underwater conditions in Rock Lake make verification extremely difficult. Furthermore, Frank Joseph Collins himself has faced controversy and criticism for lacking clear scientific evidence. The fate of the Rock Lake pyramids only adds to the intrigue. Though not recognized by mainstream science, they have become a cultural symbol in Lake Mills appearing on the town logo, in business names, and at community events. Explorations, from free diving in the 1930s to modern sonar technology, have yet to provide any convincing proof. Today, Rock Lake remains a popular destination for fishing and boating, but the pyramids are still out of reach for mainstream archaeology. Some even link them to theories about ancient aliens, though there is no scientific basis for such ideas. Will future efforts finally solve this mystery, or will Rock Lake forever keep its secrets beneath the water? Thank you for joining me in exploring the Today Mysteries. If you enjoyed these strange and fascinating stories, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on our next adventures together.